to the sun up. Feast days coming, we gon' keep it going till the next one come up. Tell them not to run up. The Most High God is keeping more than 100 big time, and he ain't baby buddy number one.
I can't wait till the feast. Yeah, it's been a long week. Yeah, I need a release from the street revolving door. So when they drop the beat, yeah, I'ma move my feet. Yeah, yeah, I'ma do my dance. Yeah. Yeah, you see my friends, yes. I've been waiting for this all week long. I've been waiting all week long.
It's a feast. On the dance floor, I'ma be a beast. Get up out of your seats. The Most High called in the sheep. Rejoicing. It's a feast. On the dance floor, I'ma be a beast. Get up out of your seats. The Most High called in the sheep. Rejoicing. Oh yeah. 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 Rejoicing. Oh yeah.
We can move to the left now. Take it back to the right. We can do it all night now. We can do it all night. We can move to the left now. Take it back to the right. We can do it all night now. We can do it all night.
I've been waiting for this all week long. I've been waiting all week long.
Visions blacker than coal, but can't deny my soul. The nation's playing their part because they fit the role. Heaven sent, man, I'm lit to stand on my tippy toes. Christ return, you in danger, my name ain't Mr. Cole. Cause I don't know no limit. The silk on his garment will shock it. Romeo P. Miller, a doctrine doctor got the pill. I see my folks need healing like Dragon Balls. My people scatter. Goku meets Krillin, devoid of hope, but doper than dope. Frankincense to smoke, precept on precept. Remember they hung us on a rope. Prophecy, Odyssey, the scriptures paint 1,000 pictures. Burn in the furnace, that's perfect. Apocrypha, they hit us. But take a look at the ground. The true Jerusalem, the Psalms of David. Look at the sound. Gifted lyrics wrapped in blue ribbon. Fringes swang, I'm on my mic Bibbins. Only difference, repentance. The voice the men feeling.
Yeah, blacker to the ground, that's the true essence of beauty. Check my pedigree, you learn we the best to do it. Melanin shining, essence of the first man. From the dust of the land, created with the thrust of his hand. He pulled greatness from the soil, smooth like oil. He pulled greatness from the soil, smooth like oil. And I'm gonna take my throne, and I'm gonna sing my song. Trials and tribulations, and no matter what we face with, and we gon' stand up strong. Our melanin gotta shining all day long. It don't matter if they hatin', because Israel we gon' make it. Look me in my eyes and you'll see that I'm something greater. Only going up from here like an escalator. A chosen people made in the image of the Savior. Royalty before the ships passed the equator. Read through the pages in Israel, the main topic. Black and common, no pale face. Boy, stop it. Crown me king, make your spirit leave like King Solomon. Queen Sheba had to take a breather, melanin pop. Yeah, blacker to the ground, that's the true essence of beauty. Check my pedigree, you learn we the best to do it. Melanin shining, essence of the first man. From the dust of the land, created with the thrust of his hand. He pulled greatness from the soil, smooth like oil. He pulled greatness from the soil, smooth like oil.
Thus will I make Mount Seir most desolate.
Most desolate. This white man got to be made most destroyed. Every last one of them got to go. And if you don't like that, if you don't like the Bible, you got a problem with the word of God. Come on.
And cut off from it him that passeth out and him that returneth.
Everybody got to go.
You are now flying.
That's a vibe, that's a vibe, that's a vibe. That's a vibe, that's a vibe. That's a vibe, that's a vibe, that's a vibe. I catch Edom in the kingdom, best believe it's genocide. Look, that's a vibe, that's a vibe, that's a vibe. That's a vibe, that's a vibe. That's a vibe, that's a vibe, that's a vibe. I catch Edom in the kingdom, best believe it's genocide. Look, brothers talk, prophets down the ride. I catch Edom in the kingdom, then it's genocide. Keep a sword on my hip like it's repent or die. So much power in my feet that I let you slide. You can't beef with a God, these impossibles. I smack Sue Kim, this run is unstoppable. If more up in the building, these dogs is not friable. Got angels at the gate, so the crib is unrobbable. Pay your taxes, cause believe me, we don't garnish checks. I'm rolling with the king of terror, so we garnish next. You remember that we guys, we ain't gotta flex. And I'ma make them see emojis, I ain't talking text. They get no heathen passes, no Eminem. Got MK power, so Kareem might finish him. Blessing like I'm in a gym, put Esau on a pair of Timbs. They see me in this grim, no trick on term, limb from limb. That's a vibe, that's a vibe, that's a vibe. That's a vibe, that's a vibe. That's a vibe, that's a vibe, that's a vibe. I catch Edom in the kingdom, best believe it's genocide. Look, that's a vibe, that's a vibe, that's a vibe. That's a vibe, that's a vibe. That's a vibe, that's a vibe, that's a vibe. I catch Edom in the kingdom, best believe it's genocide.
It's about to go down, I'm about to go dumb. Take a Edomite, baby, bust his head against some. Take a old Ishmaelite, cut his hands off of some. It's time for recompense and I ain't trying to hear none. Beat the brakes off a Kush, jab, jab, hook. About to gain some SL, Super Sands on the crook. Am against stump, beast mode like a crump. Knock him up for fun, have him looking like the monk. Pistol skull with a stone, get my King David on. God warrior and my blood from the tribe David from. More bites, get it too, and just standing with a sword. Give them all kung flu, pestilence from the Lord. On the job, acting friendly, either you can miss me over time. I'm rusty, I know who the enemy. Every time I see the smiles in my head, I'm like, wow. Can't wait for Kosh to come, I'ma put him to the plow.
That's a vibe, that's a vibe, that's a vibe. That's a vibe, that's a vibe. That's a vibe, that's a vibe, that's a vibe. I catch Edom in the kingdom, best believe it's genocide. Look, that's a vibe, that's a vibe, that's a vibe. That's a vibe, that's a vibe. That's a vibe, that's a vibe, that's a vibe. I catch Edom in the kingdom, best believe it's genocide. Like,
I'm here to chop you in pieces and use my telekinesis. Mental notes on what you did, and this is my thesis. I'm a king of a king, and I'm ready to bring all this pain and this terror that was given to us. I'm back to devour, we reign without a shower. Here to pop them collars, ain't talking about clothes. Your dress is up, you expose. You not a friend, you a foe. I'm here to drop them bows on your head till it explodes and run it back like Bo. I touch down with the glow from the chariot door that swung down real low. This for my sis, my bro. My vital kill them slow. From ear to ear, blade go. Faking CB4. You ain't your hootie, I know. No escape, no more. A captive is yo. Time millennial. Shackled head to toe. Your eyes facing the flow. A gospel vibe for show.
that's a vibe, that's a vibe, that's a vibe. That's a vibe, that's a vibe. That's a vibe, that's a vibe, that's a vibe. I catch Edom in the kingdom, best believe it's genocide. Look, that's a vibe, that's a vibe, that's a vibe. That's a vibe, that's a vibe. That's a vibe, that's a vibe, that's a vibe. I catch Edom in the kingdom, best believe it's genocide. Genocide, genocide, genocide.
She comes from my tribe. She gives me good vibes. Most High made her mine. We take one
one step at a time. Hey. She come from my tribe. Baby, let me hold you. Do the things I'm supposed to. Let me be the one you see. Baby, let me hold you. Do the things I'm supposed to do with you.
I already got a wife. Been through the wars, check the scars in my life. Bitter and the sweet, purple kisses in the strides. One body, one mind, still 12 tribes. Trying to unify these banners, leaving the house fuller than the tenors. Even when we question, yeah, we festin'. Meet me at the jammers.
She comes
what she do? That's right.
Yeah, we gotta slow down time. I can never slow time. You give me bad vibes, but she give me good vibes. Let me know where about the thing. Bad man things like shine. Finish on her clothes and it shine. And she look like she a dime. Diamond in the rough when they find you. You don't wanna take one time. Oh, she comes from my tribe. She give me good vibes. Most High made her mine. We take one step at a time. Hey. She come from my tribe. Baby, let me hold you. Do the things I'm supposed to. Let me be the one you see. Baby, let me hold you. Do the things I'm supposed to do with you.
They don't make them out of used to. Old school riding in the new school. New school riding in the old school, but I'm playing with it. They don't make us how they used to. Old school blind to the new school. New school rocking with the wheel, look out. Seat back, chucking deuce. No, we don't get down how they used to, Why they gotta get in my lane, Straight is the way to the gate, straight is the way to the gate, MIA. Why they gotta get in my lane, Straight is the way to the gate, straight is the way to the gate, MIA.
I'm gone, can't stick around for too long. I'm moving on. I've been missing in action. Trying my best to replay English fleeing from saying I've been missing in action. In my
Way up purifying in the gardens. You shouldn't do that. There's a tree in the midst, 2/3 looking at it like, what we about to eat at? Serpent on the branch, I don't see that. They're like, nah, where you see that? They're like, hey, you should join us. Everybody about to be there. Many called, only few chosen. I can stick around, gotta get going. I got other plans, but this ain't one of them. Gotta stay rooted, there's a storm coming in. Gate with my name, don't know which one it is. If Show them to the light, but they don't clean it. Why they gotta get in my, why they gotta get in my lane, in my lane. Straight is the way to the gate, straight is the way to the gate, in my lane. Why they gotta get in my, why they gotta get in my lane, in my lane. Straight is the way to the gate, straight is the way to the gate, in my lane.
I'm gone, can't stick around for too long. I'm moving on.
In my lane.
I've been missing, I'm missing in action.
In my lane.
Trying my best to remain aimless, fleeing from sin.
In my lane.
I've been missing, I'm missing in action. In my lane.
Why you don't hang no more? Why you ain't rollin' with gang no more? Why you don't bang no more? Trap out the spot, you don't slang no more. Why you just change on folk? Heard you don't bet with your rain no more. Smoke on that Jane no more. How you gon' up and just change on bro? Fall back.
Good.
Don't take it personal.
Shalom, Israel, Most High in Christ. Bless. Happy to see y'all. So today we're going over cursed in the city. Because our people, we actually can't see that we still slaves. After all that we've been through in this nation, the distractions that they give us to go on in the world, we don't actually believe that we're slaves anymore. We have jobs, we have good cars, credit be good, you got a nice house, things is good. They give you a lot of freedom and choices to be what they call great. They give you this American dream like, yeah, you can be anything that you want to be. You don't have to worry about that. God ain't real. God is blessing you even though you're doing things that you know you're not supposed to do. So the first thing I want is John chapter 8 and verse 32. And there's some images that I want. I don't know if I want the one with Harriet Tubman first or this one with the brain. I didn't see that person there, but we're gonna get into it. So go ahead and read that.
This is the book of John, chapter 8 and verse 32.
Turn his mic up a little bit. Go ahead.
In verse 32. And ye shall know the truth, and the truth shall make you free.
And this is the truth that we need to know, is because we don't believe in the Bible. We don't believe in God. We don't think that there's any consequences to the things that we do here in this world. And we got to wake up to the truth so we know what we supposed to do and what we not supposed to do in this world. Read that again.
The book of John, chapter 8 and verse 32. And ye shall know the truth, and the truth shall make you free.
So that's what we're trying to do for our people, because we're physically free. We can do and go anywhere we want with the permission of Esau, of course. But we can do pretty much anything we want. We can believe anything that we want. There's no mental discipline to us because they released the shackles. And we think that the shackles that we do got is what slavery is. From there, go to Psalms 119 and 142. And Ashar, I want you to give me the first picture of that black and white brain. I want you to put this up on the screen after he reads Psalms. Go ahead.
The book of Psalms, chapter 119, verse 142. Thy righteousness is an everlasting righteousness.
So God's righteousness is going to be forever. You can't free yourself from God's righteousness because we know that people call it karma. Karma. What's another name for it? Consequences for your action, repercussions, things of that nature. People believe in repercussions and cause and effect, but they don't believe it when it comes to the Bible, and that's what fathoms me. Go ahead.
Thy righteousness is an everlasting righteousness, and thy law is the truth.
So the laws of God is the truth. What's so true about thou shalt not steal, thou shalt not kill? Because if I don't do these two things, I ain't got to worry about nobody killing me, stealing from me. Don't commit adultery. You won't have to deal with child support because you live with the family that you created, giving the proper child support, caring for the woman. But a lot of us don't want this because of the freedom, so-called freedom, that the white man has given us. Was that it?
Yes, sir.
Give me that image of the brain. So this image says you are a prisoner of your own mind. And it got a person right there drooped down, looked like he got a sack over his head and bound and gagged. That's the so-called black, Hispanic, and Native American here in America enjoying their free life. You can bring that down. And then the next one I want is the one with Harriet Tubman. Go to Exodus chapter 24 and 7. Because the world has given us this freedom, or so-called freedom, that whatever you want to dive into, whatever you read, whatever you manifest in your imagination, it's real. It's real life, and that's what it is because you say it is. There's a dude on Facebook. He was going on about how Christianity and religion is fake. The Bible is fake. There's no God. Then in the same breath, he was like, you got to have your own personal relationship with God. I can't tell you my opinion or any fact that I think is fact about God because you have your own personal relationship. If God says something to you, I'm not supposed to know about it because that's your own personal relationship. How much sense does that make? And in the beginning, where did you get your knowledge of God? Where did you come to believe in the thought of a God? But Exodus chapter 24 and verse 27. This is why we got to stop letting other people read our book for us. We got to pick it up and read it for ourselves. 24 and 7.
The book of Exodus chapter 24 and verse 7. And he took the book of the covenant and read in the audience of the people.
So this is what Moses did for the people. He's about to establish the covenant with the people after we came out of Egypt. Read.
And he took the book of the covenant and read it in the audience of the people. And they said, all that the Lord had said, we will do.
So everything that God said that he wanted us to do, we said we're going to do it. We committed to it. We had accountability, responsibility was given to us to receive the services of God. Go ahead.
All that the Lord had said, will we do.
So that's then and all the way up until now. We're going to explain up until now because people are like, well, that was them. We didn't commit to that. That was them at that time. That's the Old Testament, but we're going to read it in the New Testament as well. Go ahead.
And be obedient. And Moses took the blood and sprinkled it on the people.
The most hard-headed people said we're going to be obedient. Just speaking about it, it made me laugh. Get Ezekiel 2, where he said he was going to send Ezekiel, because this fits the black and Hispanic people. We are so hard-headed for no reason. We don't even believe some of the stuff that we say. The things that we invent in our minds, we don't fully believe it or commit to it ourselves. But we'll preach it and say it to other people. Ezekiel chapter 2, I believe is verse 7.
7.
Let me hear
Speak
it.
my words.
Nah, I'll sing you to a rebellious people.
Oh, verse 5, yeah.
Go ahead.
The book of Ezekiel chapter 2 and verse 5. And they, whether they will hear or whether they will forbear.
Verse 4.
Verse 4. For
No.
they are...
Verse, where did you start at?
I started at verse 5 when I started at verse 4.
Verse 3.
Verse 3. And he said unto me, Son of man, I send thee to the children of Israel.
So it's already giving you the context of who he's talking to and where he's going to be sent. Read.
And he said unto me, Son of man, I send thee to the children of Israel.
So he's only speaking to the children of Israel. That's who the Lord has always been dealing with. Read.
To a rebellious nation.
To a hard-headed people. A very imaginative people. Read.
That hath rebelled against me. They and their fathers have transgressed against me even unto this very day.
Even to this day. Read.
For they are imputed children and stiff-hearted.
Stiff-hearted, mean hard-headed. No one else fits that. Just that alone, no one else fits that. Because we get Esau, they be like, Oh yeah, God did say that. Y'all are chosen. That's absolutely correct. My people did that to you, and we're benefited. They'll give you the whole outline. They brag about how bad they're doing us and how well they are, and that's just life. They brag about who they are. We're the only people that have something great and be like, nah, I don't want that. Service of God, I don't need that. Esau gave me money. The world is good to me. I do not need the Lord. When it's more than that. Read on.
For they are imputed children and stiff-hearted.
Stiff-hearted, read.
I do send thee unto them, and thou shalt say unto them, thus saith the Lord God. And they, whether they will hear or whether they will forbear.
So whether our people want to hear this or not, they got to get it. Was that it?
For they are a rebellious house, yet shall know that there hath been a prophet among them.
So go back. Go back to Exodus chapter 24, where you left off.
Verse 8. The book of Exodus chapter 24 and verse 8. And Moses took the blood and sprinkled it on the people, and said, behold, the blood of the covenant, which the Lord hath made with you concerning all these words.
So Moses did this covenant by blood with a sacrifice. Go to Matthew chapter 27 and verse 25. Matthew chapter 27, verse 5. It's going to explain this covenant. Well, it's going to explain where Christ took on the covenant, meaning he was sacrificed. He was the blood that was going to be on us, just like how Moses sprinkled the blood on the people with the same thing. So this history is linking back to how Christ is only for us, because Pilate was there. The Romans were there. The Edomites, Idumea was there, but they like, listen, I ain't got nothing to do with this. Christ's blood is going to be on the people that he actually died for. Read that, 27.
Matthew chapter 27. Want me to start at verse 4?
You can start at 24.
24?
22.
Hold on, where I'm at. Matthew 27.
27
like
and
verse 4. 22?
Yeah.
Okay. Matthew chapter 27, verse 22. Pilate saith unto them, what shall I do with Jesus, which is called Christ? They all say unto him, let him be crucified. And the governor said, why? What evil hath he done? But they cried out the more, saying, let him be crucified. When Pilate saw that he could prevail nothing, but that rather a tumult was made, he took water and washed his hands before the multitude, saying, I am innocent of the blood of this just person.
Because he wasn't under that covenant that Moses did. So there's no way that he could, that Christ's blood could be on him. He said that he was innocent. The people wanted it. He gave the people what they wanted, which was Israel. Go ahead.
I am innocent of the blood of this just person. See ye to it. Then answered all the people and said, his blood be on us and on our children.
So just because you said that was them back in the Old Testament, that they said it right there. Christ's blood is going to be on us. That covenant is going to be on them and the children after. Well, guess what? We the children after. We are the house of Israel. We still generating. We still those people from there. To explain it furthermore, Hebrews chapter 8 and verse 7. Hebrews chapter 8 and verse 7. Just to explain more on the covenant real briefly. Because it ain't no getting away with it. Whether you want to hear it or forbear, is no getting away with that you're an Israelite. I was hearing on Clubhouse last night how they was explaining. I think they explained last night and Monday night how you can't be made an Israelite. You're born that way. It's your genetics. It's your heritage. It's who you are by birth, according to the house of your father. So there's no way that you can, whether you practice it or not. And it goes for the same ones that hear this truth. They hear laboring in this truth, and they be like, oh, yeah, I used to be an Israelite. How? No one says, yeah, I used to be an African-American. When did you quit being African-American in society? Unrepented, you all of a sudden African-American now. So when you became an Israelite, you stopped being African-American? Nobody says this. And we say the dumbest things. It fathoms me. Start at verse 7.
The book of Hebrews, chapter 8 and verse 7. For if that first covenant had been faultless, then should no place have been sought for the second.
Because that first covenant, it wasn't making us perfect. We would sin commit some type of sin, go sacrifice, and then go right back to the sin. We needed our minds changed. That's what this next covenant is going to do. It's going to hold us accountable. Like, okay, after it's all said and done, you going to die by the sins. And it ain't going to be no coming back. You're done after that. Christ came, and that's it. You're not finna kill an animal and then kill an animal and then kill another animal and still do the same thing. He wants perfection. Read.
For if that first covenant had been faultless, then should no place have been sought for the second.
And the fault was in the people, because we hard-headed. Read.
For finding fault with them, he saith, Behold, the days come, saith the Lord, when I will make a new covenant with the house of Israel and with the house of Judah.
And this is towards the end of the Bible, New Testament, that he said he was going to make a new covenant with Israel. It wasn't the whole world. This is after Christ then died. Read.
When I will make a new covenant with the house of Israel and with the house of Judah, not according to the covenant that I made with their fathers in the day when I took them by the hand to lead them out of the land of Egypt.
So that cuts out everybody else, that this can be for them, that we have to change our minds and alter what the Bible says about them being included. This isn't an all-inclusive book. This is a story being played out by a specified family that has to get right. Read.
Not according to the covenant that I made with their fathers in the day when I took them by the hand to lead them out of the land of Egypt. Because they continued not in my covenant, and I regarded them not, saith the Lord.
He said, we were hard-headed, but I didn't dismiss them as my people. That didn't happen when Christ died. Read.
Verse 10. For this is the covenant that I will make with the house of Israel after those days, saith the Lord. I will put my laws into their mind and write them in their hearts.
So God said he's going to write it in our minds and our hearts. We're going to rehearse this thing so much to where it becomes second nature. You shouldn't wake up and be, when you put your clothes on, you come to the Sabbath. That's not when being an Israelite start. It don't start when you turn on class and you tuning in, you seeing leadership bringing it out. That's not you. That's not when it just clicks on and starts. You wake up and go to sleep with it. You're forever who you are. You can't take it off. You can't pretend. You can't be in a certain environment and now you're not an Israelite. It has to be on us naturally. And that's what we're going through today, is to have this heritage like we didn't obtain the American heritage, to where it's natural. It is our culture. It is our government. That's exactly who we are day in, day out. Our conversation, our speech, how we do things is what we are. Was that it?
I will put my laws into their mind and write them in their hearts. And I will be to them a God, and they shall be to me a people. And they shall not teach every man his neighbor and every man his brother, saying, Know the Lord.
It won't be no more YouTube. It won't be no Facebook posts, Twitter, all of that. It won't be no more social media to teach the people. We won't have to travel from place to place to place to teach the people, because we all gonna know and accept that we Israel and Christ is the King. From there, go to Psalms 50 and verse 5. Just to solidify the fact of the covenant is only for us, that it's ours. And we can't see it. And it is a deep mission to get us to see it. Read.
The book of Psalms chapter 50 and verse 5. Gather my saints together unto me, those that have made a covenant with me by sacrifice.
So back to the Old Testament, he's telling you who he's speaking to, what family of the earth he's dealing with. The ones that made a covenant. Not everybody was there when we came out of Egypt to make this covenant. They excused themselves when it was time for the second covenant. They said, his blood ain't on us. Well, it's going to be on the Israelite and the Israelites' children. That's who was there. From there, Deuteronomy 28 and verse 15. Now let's get to the curse of the matter as to why we can't see it, why we don't believe.
The book of Deuteronomy chapter 28 and verse 15. But it shall come to pass, if thou wilt not hearken unto the voice of the Lord thy God.
Hard-headed people, read.
To observe, to do all his commandments and his statutes, which I command thee this day.
This is all Most High is asking us to do, is keep the simple commandments. The real basic is real easy to do it. Read.
That all these curses shall come upon thee and overtake thee.
The the other thing about it is, why are we arguing about abortion, but then do a protest about Black Lives Matter? The black people are amazing. Read.
Verse 16.
Oh, you read the whole thing? Read it again.
Verse 15. But it shall come to pass, if thou wilt not hearken unto the voice of the Lord thy God, to observe to do all his commandments and his statutes, which I command thee this day, that all these curses shall come upon thee and overtake thee.
So these curses are in place to make sure that we're punished thoroughly for the crimes that we committed against the Most High, but also to show us that this is our Bible, to bring us back home. This is why we're being punished so roughly in the cities and states and the countries that we live in. So from there, Ashar, give me the picture with Harriet Tubman. Her quote. This is a famous quote of hers that she said. It said, "I freed 1,000 slaves. I could have saved 1,000 more if only they knew they were slaves." Our people today don't know that they're slaves. From there, verse 29.
The book of Deuteronomy, chapter 28, and verse 29.
You can take it down. Read.
And thou shalt grope at noonday, as the blind gropeth in darkness.
So here we are, blinded by the distractions that's been created for us, whether it's a good solid career, a white picket fence, this good American living that Esau provides for us. The religions that we have, I'm comfortable in this. It's happy. I can still do what I want to do. I can be an American. I can blend in with society. Read it again.
Verse 29, and thou shalt grope at noonday, as the blind gropeth in darkness.
So now we can't see. Now our minds are corrupted. Read.
And thou shalt not prosper in thy ways.
So we've seen the many different ways that we've tried to prosper. Greenwood, what happened? We were economically sound. We got bombed out of the sky. Well, the Moab, the Chinese, they're economically sound in the U.S. There's not a city in the U.S. that there's not a Chinese restaurant. There's not a dish or piece of article of thing in your house that don't say made in China. Why didn't they get bombed for being economically sound? When World War II happened, they were in camps. They were held hostage during the war times. Why did they get reparations and we didn't? When we were getting beat up in their convenience stores, in their weave with the beauty supply stores, when we were getting beat up, where was our law at to protect us? Where was our hate law? But after we marched in the streets during the 60s to get these freedoms that they enjoy to this day, I don't see no pictures of them getting dogs, people sicking dogs on them. I don't see them getting water hose like that. I don't see them getting spit on and food thrown at them for trying to sit in at a restaurant where they saying no blacks. I didn't see that. I didn't see no Caucasians only, no zipper faces. I didn't see none of those antics. So why is it so hard on us? Read.
And thou shalt grope at noonday, as the blind gropeth in darkness. And thou shalt not prosper in thine ways. And thou shalt be only oppressed and spoiled evermore.
You got to ask yourself, why nothing worked for us? The same system that you've implemented your ideas, laws, because we were Republicans at one point passing laws by mass. We were in these institutions to make change in the U.S. during after the Reconstruction era, after the Civil War. And then what happened? Why wasn't it a success? Why are we still in the same state that we're in? Why haven't we considered these things? From there, jump to verse 23. Jump back up to verse 23.
The book of Deuteronomy, chapter 28, and verse 23?
Yeah.
Verse 23. And thine heaven that is over thy head shall be brass.
So this is talking about us being shackled and chained. Us being physically chained. And I know y'all seen Django and other movies. What's that other one? Goodbye, Uncle Tom. to where you got that cage all the way over their head, or the spikes sticking out, the bells, or the one with it has a mouthpiece. It has the mouthpiece, and it's all around their face. This is what this scripture is talking about. But Esau saw it fit that he break those chains because you were already destroyed. And it was a way to make more money off of you with you being mentally destroyed. So with that being said, get me the other image with the guy with the chains around his neck and he's painting it. Read that again.
The book of Deuteronomy chapter 28 and verse 23. And thy heaven that is over thy head shall be brass, and the earth that is under thee shall be iron.
So we'll hear things like this, and we feel free because we're not shackled in chains. We're not on the plantation anymore. We can go as we please. If you don't want to work a job, you ain't got to work a job. If you want to get another job, you can get another job. But we don't see that that's still slavery. Where you at with the picture? Did you get it? You see it? No, not Frederick. It's a black man with no shirt on. Yeah, that. Big it up. Real big. Nobody can see it. We can't see the words. So it says, jobs are like gold slave change. They look nice, but don't set you free. So it's talking about you being in a workplace. So we've been working since, what, the 1800s? Since they freed us from slavery, since the Emancipation Proclamation. We've been free. We helped this government get back on its feet from the destruction that they did from warring with each other. And where are you at now? Where's your Walmarts? Where's your Targets? Where is your global businesses? Where's your slave trade, your import and exports? Why aren't you benefiting from anything that you've built here in this nation? We should have a legacy off of that, a great legacy, because we built everything in slavery and outside of slavery. They weren't economically sound after they released us because we were doing all the work. They kids weren't educated on that level, and if they were, it was because the slaves was educating them. Outside of the ones that were already well off and going to these greater schools, because the North didn't get devastated like the South did. Read that again.
The book of Deuteronomy chapter 28, verse 23. And thy heaven that is over thee, and thy heaven that is over thy head shall be brass.
So just because the shackles ain't on you now, don't mean that still don't exist. Because it's in your mind now. All that slavery, those chains is in your mind now. Where I got you at 23. Jump down to 46.
The book of Deuteronomy chapter 28 and verse 46. And they shall be upon thee for a sign and for a wonder, and upon thy seed forever.
So these curses, this oppression that we're under, is supposed to show us, make us wonder why we're dealing with what we're dealing with. Why all the other nations are in the place that they're in, and us where we're at. Because when you think of slums and ghettos, you don't think about anybody else. When you think about poverty and struggles, you always think about the Israelites, the Hebrews. Read that again.
Verse 46. And they shall be upon thee for a sign and for a wonder.
So a lot of us, we like to complain about this curse right here. Man, it's hard, man. I got to do this. I got to go back to the plantation, man. I'm tired of getting up, going to work. But you're supposed to feel that because it's supposed to encourage you that, dang, we messed up. We got to get things right with the Most High God. Without this oppression, we'll be running around just like these other Americans, carefree. Even though we deal with stuff, hey, that's life. Well, life for us is real different. Go to verse 37 now.
The book of Deuteronomy chapter 28 and verse 37. And thou shalt become an astonishment.
So that astonishment right there. Why can't these people get their stuff together? Why do they act the way that they act? Why do they talk the way that they talk? Why they keep dealing with the things that they deal with? Even Esau be marveled, like, listen, that was me. I wouldn't forgive any of them. I wouldn't forgive people for what they do, what they've done to my people. We'd stand up and fight. We'll unify. And we've seen how they unify against each other for their own benefits. But the black people, there's no loyalty with us. Read.
Verse 37. And thou shalt become an astonishment, a proverb, and a byword among all the nations, whither the Lord shall lead thee.
How is it that you can go anywhere in the world and you're still treated less than a human? They already got you pinned. They make jokes about it. They make movies about it. They do a lot of stuff to show you your position in the city, in the world. From, I was in Afghanistan, and I knew it was a racist term because this was my first time out of America. And I'm thinking, surely I wouldn't be treated like I am in America. But they called me Torah. They hanging out the window, and they yelling this term towards me. And another black guy, but when you see the Edomites there, they treating them like they friends, like they cool, there's no issue. And I'm like, this country is at war with your country and is led by Esau, but y'all don't have any problems with them. Y'all mocking me. Why is that? Why from city to city, every black person is treated in the same manner, like they're good for nothing, like they're savages? And then they'll make clothes about these things, and we rock them like, yeah, this the new fit. When it's a byword against you. It's just another name for calling you a nigger, a slave. Read that again.
Verse
37.
37. And thou shalt become an astonishment, a proverb, and a byword among all nations, whither the Lord shall lead thee. Thou, verse 38.
No, go to 48.
Verse 48. The book of Deuteronomy, chapter 28, and verse 48. Therefore shalt thou serve thine enemies, which the Lord shall send against thee in hunger, and in thirst, and in nakedness, and in want of all things.
Sarah said, I feel like I just got loose from slavery. They still emailing me right now. I'm off the clock. I want to just rest. Pray for them Sabbaths, sis. Pray for them Sabbaths and their destruction. Read that again.
Verse 48. Therefore shalt thou serve thine enemies, which the Lord shall send against thee in hunger, and in thirst, and in nakedness, and in want of all things.
In the want of all things, we're still serving people. We're not free. We have no economic freedom. We don't even have a dollar that's our own, and we're still voting for somebody, just our face, to be on a dollar bill when the system itself is still destroying you. How is it that I work all these hours and I still have to pay all my money just to live on earth? Water comes out of the sky for free, but there's a bill for the water so you can use it in your house. And a lot of us are bougie now to where we don't drink tap water. We go to the stove and go get a whole case of water. Cursed. In thirst and nakedness. Like I said, every tag is Taiwan, China. Where is your home at to where you furnish everything? Why don't you have anything? Why aren't you benefiting from anything that you're laboring for? And it fathomed me when I'm working. Like, dang, I'm doing all this. And mind you, Esau's systems be raggedy. From their military to their corporations. They just be making stuff up. Some of it be successful, but when you look at the interior of it, it's like, man, this stuff is raggedy. And then you have somebody with a paper that says they've been in school for umpteen years, and they know how to tell you to do stuff, and they have no experience, no people skills, and these are the people that's ruling over you, telling you what to do. And then when you tell them the logical thing to do, they be like, listen, I have the degree, you're the employee, just do what I say and it's going to work. Just making things harder. Read it again.
The book of Deuteronomy chapter 28 and verse 48. Therefore shalt thou serve thine enemies, which the Lord shall send against thee, in hunger, and in thirst, and in nakedness, and in want of all things. And he shall put a yoke of iron upon thy neck until he have destroyed thee.
So bring me that image back with the man in the chain. How he's painting it gold. This is how the Negro forgot that he was a slave. Because now he can afford to have gold chains. And now it's fashion. He can buy it. He had to work in one of all things, he had to get it. Now that he got it, I'm not a slave. I can afford the life that I want. I can do these things. It looks nice to work for somebody. I'm my own man. I'm independent. How are you independent when you depend on another nation to simply dress you? This world tells you what looks good for you. Because I remember the style change. Because I was just talking to people about the short fashion now. You've seen it back in the 80s and the 90s where the basketball players had the short shorts and Fresh Prince. They was wearing the many different colors, the crazy hairstyles, and then it started to fade out. The baggy look started to come. After the baggy look came, here come the little clothes again, the tight clothes. You even had the 60s to where they were dressing dang near like women in the bell bottoms and the platform shoes and all the crazy wild colors. You see this, and now the times changed again. You depend on this world to tell you how you should dress. That's the one of all things. They tell you how to dress, how to think, what's popular and what's not popular, and they'll scold you for it. And the black man thinking he's free because it looks good now. You can take the image down, go to Baruch chapter 3 and start at verse 4. I'm reading some of y'all comments as I pause through. I like the fact that it's up there. Never feel free. Go ahead and read.
The book of Baruch, chapter 3 and verse 4. O Lord Almighty, thou God of Israel, hear now the prayers of the dead Israelites.
So this is what we should be doing, praying to the Most High that he hears us, that he revenge what they've done to us, the captivity that they've modified for us to be in. Read.
O Lord Almighty, thou God of Israel, hear now the prayers of the dead Israelites.
We're the dead Israelite because the life is the laws of God. That's what brings us to life. That's what gives us life. Read.
And of their children which have sinned before thee.
So it's saying of the children. It's still generational. From the time of our birth up until now, it never stopped. Read.
And not hearkened unto the voice of thee, their God.
Hard-headed. Read.
For the which cause these plagues cleave unto us.
The curses of Deuteronomy 28. Why it has to be so. Read.
Remember not the iniquities of our forefathers, but think upon thy power and thy name now at this time.
That's what we're doing right now. Remember your covenant that you made with us. Release us from our prison. But it's got to be you. You got to remember that you're an Israelite. You got to remember that you did all of these things. We still on air? Okay. Get 1 Kings, because it just popped in my mind. 8. Because it's saying the same thing. Baruch is saying the exact same thing as 1 Kings 8. When he's saying, remember not the iniquities of our forefathers, but think upon thy power and thy name at this time. This is what we're supposed to do. 1 Kings chapter 8.
Verse 47. Just think, or start at verse 46. If they sin against me.
If they sin against me. Start there.
The book of 1 Kings chapter 8 and verse 46. If they sin against thee.
Which we did. Read.
For there is no man that sinneth not. And thou be angry with them and deliver them to the enemy.
He poured the curses upon us. Read.
And deliver them to the enemy, so that they carry them away captives unto the land of the enemy, far or near.
It don't matter if you're in Japan, China, Russia, Australia, India, America, South America. It don't matter where you are. This is what we're supposed to be doing in our captivity. Remembering that this is what we've done and what we need to do to get out of it. Not get comfortable and have hot girl summers and vacations. Not saying you can't enjoy life lawfully, but this isn't our focus to be model citizens here in this world. We're supposed to be doing a job to get out of this world into our kingdom. Read.
Verse 47. Yet if they
The
shall...
American dream, that's what it is. Not so much a model citizen, but living in the American dream. That's not our dream. It's a nightmare for us. Read.
Yet if they shall bethink themselves in the land whither they were carried captives and repent.
So if we remember who we are, if we break those mental shackles, read.
And make supplication unto thee in the land of them that carried them captives, saying, we have sinned and have done perversely. We have committed wickedness.
Go back to Baruch. And verse,
what was that?
You was at 5.
The book of Baruch, chapter 3, and verse 5. Remember not the iniquities of our forefathers, but think upon thy power and thy name now at this time. For thou art the Lord our God.
The Lord our God, none else. Read.
And thee, O Lord, will we praise.
We're not going to be hard-headed no more if you do this. Read.
And for this cause thou hast put thy fear in our hearts.
That's what the covenant is supposed to do. Read.
To the intent that we should call upon thy name.
That's what the curses are doing to us. Like, we getting afflicted, and now we like, oh, snap, you jacking us up, Most High. Remember that we your people. Don't leave us like you leave the other people with no mercy to where they just die and that's it, and you don't care nothing about their whole existence. Read.
To the intent that we should call upon thy name and praise thee in our captivity. For we have called to mind all the iniquity of our forefathers that have sinned before thee.
We breaking those mental chains off of our neck. We don't want to be cursed in the city no more. Read.
Behold, we are yet this day in our captivity.
And that's what we got to remember, that we are still in captivity. No matter how good you got it, look at your nation as a whole. This job ain't done, and it's a big job. We got a very, very long ways to go. Because our people still think that there's no value in the simple things of the commandments, like marriage, like being a father, like being a mother, a wife. We don't have value in these things, and it's destroying us. Just simply saying hi to your brother, we look at him with straight hatred. What you looking at? What you looking at? You ain't looking at me like that. I'm going to end your life. These little things, we don't, that's what's keeping those mental chains on us. Read.
Behold, we are yet this day in our captivity, where thou hast scattered us for a reproach and a curse.
Because we don't want to give up how America has trained us to be. Whether it's that good old citizen or it's that evil Negro that's destined to be in prison his whole life. We want to keep that same narrative about ourselves to fit into this society that we don't fit. Read.
For a reproach and a curse, and to be subject to payments.
We still subject to payments. That's that receipt to let you know you ain't free. If you want to go out of this country, you're going to have to pay and get some paperwork to say that master said it was okay. From here to there. It's no different from you getting a pass from when he allowed you to go into the city to do his bidding. You had to make sure you had your master's seal to make sure that you could drive that car that he gave you. It's still to this day. Where your tags at? Where your license and registration at? There's no difference. Did master say you can do this? Did master say you could be on this side of town? What are you doing over here, boy? I don't care how much money you got. We don't want you wearing our clothes. Go make your own clothes. Oh, you can't, because you're a slave. Read.
And a curse, and to be subject to payments, according to all the iniquities of our fathers, which departed from the Lord our God.
And taught the children to do the same thing. Read.
Hear, Israel, the commandments of life.
This is life. This is what's going to wake us up. This is what's going to free us. Read.
Give ear to understand wisdom. How happeneth it, Israel?
And that's what the history is showing us. How did we end up like this? Why are we still at the bottom and last in society? How is our name still being dragged in the mud? Why are we like this in the cities and states that we live in? Read.
How happeneth it, Israel, that thou art in thine enemy's land, that thou art waxing old in a strange country?
Reading this, I picture the image of Martin in Life when they went to jail, and he finally he was driving the white man to the bus station to pick up the one that actually committed the crime. And he saw himself, and he saw how life has changed in front of him. He looking around like, I done got old. And what do I have to show for my life? I'm a prisoner to the state for in my innocence, and there's no way I can prove it. And I'm old in this place. Life has just passed me by. That's how we got to look at ourselves today. Why is everybody else advancing above us? Why do we act the way that we act? Why can't we just get right? What did we do? Take accountability is what I'm saying. Where is the accountability for us and what we've done and haven't done in this earth as to why we're still in the position that we're in as a whole? Because you got your Oprahs, you got your Tyler Perrys, these people to where they mega rich. They don't have to worry about anything for the rest of their life. And then some. But what about the rest of the people? Why do we have this name and stigma on us? Read. Start over. How happened it?
Verse 10. How happeneth it, Israel, that thou art waxing in, that thou art in thine enemy's land, that thou art waxing old in a strange country?
So, how is it that you're in your enemy's land? Because the Chinese, they can go back to China. Even the British Americans, the Spaniards, all the different various names that Caucasians call themselves, they can still go back to their homeland. They can retrace themselves back. But why can't you? Why are you just here in America? Where is your homeland? Why can't you recall, like some of us to say, yeah, I'm African. Okay, there's many countries in Africa. What part of Africa are you from? Where's your lineage, your heritage that brings you back to Africa? You can't. Read that part again.
That thou art waxing old in a strange country. That thou art defiled with the dead. That thou art counted with them that go into the grave. That go down into the grave.
So pretty much he's saying, how is it that we like all the other nations? Why aren't we as great as we are? Why aren't we great? Why are we just like regular men that walk the earth? Haven't you considered that? Because we are excellent. We are special at everything that we do. It's not too many of us that don't have any skill in things, whether it's with our brain power, our hands, our speed, our athleticism, our strength, even the way that we talk and walk. Why is it that we don't benefit from any of these things as great as we are? And these regular saltless people with no rhythm, no flavor whatsoever, do it better than us. Read.
Verse 11. That thou art counted with them that go down into the grave. Thou hast forsaken the fountain of wisdom.
Because we forgot that we are the Israelites, that we are gods on this earth, that we are God's chosen people. Read.
For if thou hast walked in the way of God, thou shouldest have dwelled in the peace forever.
So give me Frederick Douglass' image. Let's get his quote. Because if we had this knowledge, we're going to have this pride and protection from God that no one can enslave us. And this is the fear that the nations have, that we're rising up, that we're speaking the way that we speak, that we know that our king and a Messiah is a black man. What you looking like, Ashar? That image with Frederick Douglass? Yeah, so his quote said, knowledge makes a man unfit to be a slave. Because when you realize that, let's just use work, for instance. You realize that what they do ain't really hard. I can do this exact same thing, and the only thing that I need is the support, which we don't do it as a nation. We don't support each other like we support everything else. But once you realize that I'm better than this job, I'm better than making $6.50 an hour. I just did a small hustle and made $100 in 3 minutes. What's wrong with me to where I can't duplicate this? Why can't I open up my own school system? I'm good at this subject. I'm good at teaching people. I have social skills. I was making a joke yesterday, just listening to brothers have conversations, because we'll get phone calls to deal with matters, and we back and forth, or dealing with family, It's like, okay, I told you this scripture. This is what this is. This is how it is. You're breaking it down wrong. You don't understand. And we going back. I'm like, man, if there was a call center, a prophet hotline call center, to where we go to a building 8 hours of the day, people calling in, and we going verse for verse for them. I'm like, that'll be funny. That'll be hilarious. On how you hear the background when you call in the customer service to like T-Mobile or Sprint or something like that, and you troubleshooting people's issues. But yeah, it's just a funny thought. Not saying, because that's what really happens when they call in the lines. But that's our job as prophets. Where I got you reading that? You still in Baruch?
Yes, sir. Verse 14.
Yeah, read to 13. Go ahead. You can take Frederick Douglass down.
Verse 13, I'll read it again.
Yeah, verse 13.
The book of Baruch, chapter 3 and verse 13. For if thou hast walked in the way of God, thou shouldest have dwelled in peace forever. Learn where is wisdom, where is strength, where is understanding.
So Baruch is saying, learn where your strength is, because it's not in your economics. It's not in your brain power. It's not that you're just a special being. It's not in your athleticism. It isn't you being the best model citizen here and becoming a lawmaker in this system that was made to be against you. You got to learn where the knowledge is. It ain't in the stars of heaven and the Egypt books and all the nonsense that we've been groped at. We've tried it all. We've read it all. We've done it all. But keep the laws of God. That's what's keeping us back. From there, Lamentations chapter 4, verse 1 and 2. Because here it is. We got gold chain, gold this, and we don't realize we the actual gold. We the actual prize of the earth. Lamentations chapter 4 and verse 1.
The book of Lamentations chapter 4 and verse 1. How is the gold become dim?
So, how did you become what you are today? How did you become nothing? Treated as you're nothing, less than a human being. Read.
How is the gold become dim? How is the most fine gold changed?
How is the best thing ever created on this earth regarded as nothing, no one, less than nothing? Read.
The stones of the sanctuary are poured out in the top of every street. The precious sons of Zion, comparable to fine gold.
So this is the Most High telling that you are comparable to fine gold. Read.
How are they esteemed as earthen pitchers?
How did you become so low? Read.
The work of the hands of the potter.
By the curses. That's how. Jump down to verse 17.
Verse 17. As for us, our eyes yet failed for our vain help. In our watching, we have watched for a nation that could not save us.
Right now, we looking for somebody to come redeem us or save us, to get us out of this misery that we're in. We've had leader after leader. You had Malcolm X stand up, Marcus Garvey. You've even had sisters step up, like Harriet Tubman said. Her system that she had was easy for slaves to escape. She had support to do it, but some of them were so happy in doing it. Hey, Ashar, if you can, if it's possible, there's a clip of Goodbye, Uncle Tom. Towards the end, it was where the slave was saying how well he benefited from being a slave and why he didn't want to be free. You know what I'm talking about? If you can find it, let me know. If not, I just explained it. Y'all gotta watch that thing. It made me mad when I first came into the truth. Watching the whole thing, the whole system of how they did it. And how they really had no care for us. But this particular slave was just saying, like, why would I want to be free? Because the slave master pays for everything that he wants. Read Lamentations 17.
The book of Lamentations, chapter 4 and verse 17. As for us, our eyes yet failed for our vain help. In our watching, we have watched for a nation that could not save us.
So we've made laws, we've made economic stances, we've made different political stances to talk to this nation angrily or peacefully to see if they would help us, give us our reparations, give us our 40 acres and a mule, or just treat us like equal citizens. And they failed to do that yet. And our people still say, like, hey, listen, the system that we got is good. It's a little flawed, but it's still good. But they haven't considered, or we haven't considered, that it's only bent when it comes to us. There's only a problem when it comes to giving us what we need. They've paid everybody off that they've done evil to, but the people that they still hold captive. From there, get Daniel chapter 9, 11 and 12. You found it yet? Daniel chapter 9, 11 and 12. It's towards the very end. I think the dude, he looks like he has on glasses and he's in a cage. And he's being spoken to by an interviewer. Go ahead, read.
The book of Daniel chapter 9 and verse 11. Yea, all Israel have transgressed thy law, even by departing that they might not obey thy voice. Therefore the curse is poured upon us. And
this is where we're at. The curses are being poured upon us, and it's heavy on us. Read.
Therefore the curse is poured upon us. And the oath that is written in the law of Moses, the servant of God, because we have sinned against him.
Yeah, him right there. Let me hear it real quick. See if this is it. Or if you can play it, and see if it's on the same lines as I am, without disrupting the class. See if that's it. Go ahead and read.
And the oath that is written in the law of Moses, the servant of God.
Because the Most High is going to keep his word. What he wrote, what he said, that's what he's going to do. And that's the punishment that's on us. Read.
Because we have sinned against him.
Because we messed up. He didn't mess up. It wasn't his fault that we chose not to listen. Read.
And he hath confirmed his words, which he spake against us, and against our judges that judged us, by bringing upon us a great evil.
And this great evil is upon us. So how could we forget when it constantly happened? We've been saying, stop killing us. Stop doing all these evil things to us. Has it stopped? It may not be you. You may have gotten out the hood, out the ghetto. You may have gotten in a position to where people treat you with respect. They open doors for you. Life doors are being opened for you, so you got comfortable. You forgot that your people are still in it as a whole, that the system that your people are in are still being mistreated and uneducated. Read on. Was that all of verse 12?
Verse 12. And he hath confirmed his words which he spake against us and against our judges that judged us, by bringing upon us a great evil. For under the whole heaven hath not been done as hath been done upon Jerusalem.
Who else can attach themselves to these curses and say that these specific things are happening to them? No one. We can sit here and try and think about it, like how bad the Egyptians are devastated, but you can read in the Bible why they're in the state that they're in. The curses didn't happen to them. Their land was taken from them, but they still live there. They still can come here, get a green card. That's it. All right, they can still come here, get a green card. There was this one guy, he was saying how he came over here from Africa. He used to be in their military. He joined the U.S. military. He was here for 4 years. He lives in the suburbs. He has an Edomite as a wife. He was working on his doctorate's degree, or he had his doctorate's degree, or he was using the military to finish it. But he already had a degree. I forgot what degree he said he had, but either which way, he said he was working on his doctorates. I'm like, dang, I've been here my whole life, and I ain't accomplished nothing. Like, I struggled through school like that. And you come here and you benefit. That's because they don't deal with the same oppressions that we do. They don't have the same obstacles as we have as to why they can benefit, and they give them some certain things. And as soon as they get here, I heard this from a few migrants or immigrants. They'll say, like, during customs, they'll tell them, don't deal with black people. They're this, they're that, they're thugs, they're crazy. You don't want to involve yourselves with them. That's what I think he was telling me that. But he was saying as he was going through customs, they was giving him a debriefing about how don't deal with black people. Already giving him a mind state of all of them are crazy, don't deal with them. Love the white man and the other nations, just not them. Yeah, say it on the mic. You talking to me.
I said astonishment, a proverb and a byword.
But go ahead and play this about being comfortable in captivity. Ashar?
Excuse us, sir. My colleague and I are here to conduct an inquiry. May we ask you a few questions?
Yes, please, Master. I'm at your disposal.
You're here, as it were, to be sold, no?
Turn it up a
Of
bit.
course.
We are truly appalled, sir. We can imagine how you must feel, your fear, your indignation.
On the contrary, why, in my career, I have always been very lucky. I've had masters, each one more humane than the next.
But haven't you ever been treated brutally, whipped, beaten, tortured?
In our profession, what counts is to do one's duty. Don't listen to all those stories about the various Uncle Toms and Simon Legrees and so on. It's all nonsense. The truth is that we are valuable merchandise. And have you seen the prices in the market? I know it. I cost more than $2,000.
So hold right there.
Can you imagine a fool?
You can take it down. So basically what he's saying is, look, I'm not one of those brute savages that you have to beat. I'm intelligent. I'm worth a lot of money. They need me, so they're not going to abuse me. I'm very precious cargo. They're going to use me in a way to where I don't need to be free. What am I going to run away from? And then he goes into how they provide dental and health benefits that he doesn't pay for. He gets room and board for free. Why would I leave? Why would I act like these other brutes that you speak of? I'm not going to try to leave and run away. I'm benefiting on a very very beneficial way. I'm the prize. They need me. He's happy being a slave, and that's the mental that we're in right now because of the freedoms that they allow in this unfree state that they give us. Where did I have you leave off? You was in Daniel. So go back to Lamentations chapter 5, and we'll read 1 and 7.
Chapter 1.
And because he gets all of these benefits, he forgets the fact that this still applies to him and his people. And over time, you're going to forget. You're not even going to teach your children that this is evil and this is good because of all the benefits or the gifts that you get from this world. Read.
The book of Lamentations, chapter 5 and verse 1.
Uh-huh.
Remember, O Lord, what is to come upon us. Consider and behold our reproach.
Uh-huh.
Our inheritance is turned to strangers.
They took our land. They took our lands, plural. Excuse me, read.
Our inheritance is turned to strangers.
They even took who we were. Read.
Our houses to aliens.
They're the aliens, not the Hispanics. We're not the immigrants here. They are. Read.
Verse 7. You said verse 7, right? Or 2 verse 7.
No, keep reading on.
Oh. Verse 3. We are orphans and fatherless. Our mothers are as widows.
Uh-huh.
We have drunken our water for money.
And that goes on back to the point to where here it is, you pay a water bill, go get water at the stove to drink. It falls free from the sky. Why are you taxing me for something that's provided? And some of us are so clueless now to where it's natural. So that's not water that you drink. It comes out of the sink. I know we used to tear the water hose up when we were kids. This water's something else now. But it's almost like we compete, like the bougie level that we go to. Oh, you drink tap water? You don't drink Fuji water? You don't drink pure alkaline water? Listen, you a slave. that's telling you that you're a slave because you have to buy these different types of water from these different companies. When Coca-Cola, they just turn on the spigot and put it in the bottle and overcharge you. We getting robbed. Read.
We have drunken our water for money. Our wood is sold unto us.
Everything on this earth, every blade of grass was given to us as a possession, as a heritage. We owned everything. Why are we paying for it? You even have to. I seen what's that rapper's name? He got a show to where he tests out people's expensive product. 2 Chainz, that's what it is. He was making fun of the dude because he was selling air. But he was also making a joke like, if you broke in America with them selling stupid stuff, like air from the mountain, air from yeah, say it on the mic. You know, I'm trying to figure out places and keep this.
Yeah, I seen that.
But he's like, this is crazy. This is the mind that Esau has to where everything costs. Even a freaking park. I hate going downtown. I went downtown the other day. I was mad as ever paying for parking. Read on.
Verse 5. Our necks are under persecution.
How you double pay somebody? You got to pay to park and to pay to get to where you're going to. You got to pay for every single thing here. And then, never mind. I'm going to go into a tangent. Go ahead.
Our necks are under persecution.
Aren't we still under persecution? We was getting whipped back then. We getting whipped now. But now we can buy whips and chains. Everything is good now. Read.
Our necks are under persecution.
And for those of y'all that ain't with the lingo, that's a car. A whip is a car. Read it again.
Our necks are under persecution.
That's still happening to this day. Read.
We labor and have no rest.
That's what the sister said earlier. She off the clock and they still emailing her to come back to work. Can I rest? Can I get some time off? I want to get my mental together. You calling me in to do some more senseless work. Go to Jeremiah 50 and 33. Because Northern Kingdom be thinking they exempt too. Y'all live in the slums and the ghettos. Y'all cooperate with each other better than Judah do. Judah, his own man, he got to get it on his own. He don't want to share. Go ahead.
Verse 32.
33.
The book of Jeremiah, chapter 50 and verse 33. Thus saith the Lord of hosts, the children of Israel and the children of Judah were oppressed together, and all that took them captives held them fast. They refused to let them go.
Oh, Faith said no Hebrew can answer a question. Maybe your ears ain't got ears to hear it. Maybe it was answered. Post it back up. I'm going to read it. Yeah, Faith, I want to see it. Read that again.
Verse 33. Thus saith the Lord of hosts, the children of Israel and the children of Judah were oppressed together.
So the Hispanics and the African Americans, Latinx, whatever you call yourself today, sovereign, whatever you call yourself today, you still a slave here in America. There's no way around it. When we are being oppressed together, the system works together against us. Read on. Or was that it?
The children of Israel and the children of Judah were oppressed together.
Northern and Southern Kingdom, read.
And all that took them captives held them fast.
We're still here in America. And America used to be the Native Americans. Parts of it used to be the Issachar and Reuben. And guess what happened? They moved y'all from Florida to Oklahoma. They kicked y'all out of California to Mexico. The Louisiana Purchase took everything in the middle. They split the lands and took it for themselves. Our wood, our water, our things, our possession, our houses is now theirs, and they call you the alien. You got to see this history. You got to know that this is you. Scroll all the way down to the bottom, see if she reposted it. Go to Micah chapter 2, 7 and 8. And here's our problem right now as to why we can't get it together. Our sins keep multiplying together. We ain't figured it out on what we're doing to ourselves. If it ain't there, it ain't there. Hit the blue arrow. Go ahead, read.
The book of Micah chapter 2 and verse 7. O thou that art named the house of Jacob, is the spirit of the Lord straitened? Are these his doings? Do not my words do good to him that walketh uprightly? Even of late my people is risen up as an enemy.
We our own enemies. We gangbang against each other. But when the real war comes, like what happened, who's still mad about what happened in New York? Who's still mad about all the school shootings that's happening? Who's going to rise up and do something about that? No, you're not. You're just going to talk about it online like that's such a tragedy. Not that we're promoting violence, but I'm saying it at where's your mind actually at? Because when it's really time for the real fight, you still fighting amongst yourselves. Blacks can't go to the Hispanic side of town because they gonna shoot them up. Hispanics can't go to Judah's side of town because it's gonna be fight. It's gonna be a war. When is this gonna stop before us? So what are we gonna do? What are we gonna do about this issue that keeps us in iniquity? Read it again.
Verse 8, verse 7.
Yeah.
O thou that art named the house of Jacob.
So the Israelites, what are we going to do about our in-house problems, our issues, to where we're not keeping the commandments? Read.
Is the spirit of the Lord straitened? Are these his doings? Do not my words do good to him that walketh uprightly?
So back to what I was saying. Marriage is honorable. How did being married and committed to one person become a bad thing? Because I don't know about the next married man that don't deal outside of his marriage. When the last time you got an STD from your wife? Because she's not stepping out, you not stepping out. What evil has come from that? There's nobody calling the phone late at night threatening me because I done dealt with they woman. No evil has come to me. I'm not fearing to go to jail because I'm not stealing from somebody. I'm not looking over my back because of some evil that I've done to someone else. When did keeping the commandments become so bad, so hard? Not having hatred for your own brother. Just a simple, hey, how you doing? How's your day going to the next man? When did that become evil and hard by having that brotherly love one toward another? Who taught you that it was evil for us to behave in that manner towards each other? Read it again.
Verse 7. O thou that art named the house of Jacob, is the spirit of the Lord straitened? Are these his doings? Do not my words do good to him that walketh uprightly? Even of late my people is risen up as an enemy. Ye pull off the robe with the garment from them that pass by securely, as men averse from war.
That's how we treat each other, like we at war. Like I said, coming from Afghanistan, I'm like, dang, that was crazy. And some of us are living like that day to day in our neighborhoods. Wake up, go to sleep, looking over our back like we at war. Got to do certain checkpoints, make certain calls. Is the opposition still here? Is it safe? Who wants to live like that in their everyday home? Why do we act the way that we act in our own cities and states, the way that we do? Chirac shouldn't exist. From there, Isaiah chapter 3. I skipped Amos. But go to Isaiah chapter 3 and verse 5. Who's doing it? We are. To ourselves. Go ahead.
The book of Isaiah chapter 3 and verse 5. And the people shall be oppressed, every one by another, and everyone by his neighbor.
Start up at verse 2.
The book of Isaiah chapter 3 and verse 2. The mighty man and the man of war, the judge and the prophet, and the prudent and the ancient, the captain of 50 and the honorable man, and the counselor and the cunning artificer, and the eloquent orator. And I will give children to be their princes, and babes shall rule over them.
So nobody's going to honor the men that was just named. Like the mighty men, the prophets, the ancient, our elders, the people who actually have knowledge and that guide the people. There's not going to be any respect for them. Read verse 4 again.
Verse 4. And I will give children to be their princes, and babes shall rule over them. And the people shall be oppressed, every one by another, and every one by his neighbor.
So we going to oppress each other. And we can't see this history of black on brown violence. We haven't recognized that this is our doom. This is our fall. This is why we can't be anywhere in the city. Read it again.
Verse 4. And I will give children to be their princes, and babes shall rule over them. And the people shall be oppressed, every one by another, and every one by his neighbor. The child shall behave himself proudly against the ancient, and the base against the honorable.
Wow, Faith. So your question was actually answered in the beginning. It was answered in the beginning. So if you got ears to hear, let them hear. Read.
Verse 5. Verse 5 again.
Yeah.
And the people shall be oppressed, every one by another, and every one by his neighbor. The child shall behave himself proudly against the ancient.
There's no respect. Here it is, you playing knockout games and robbing old folks for their possessions. And you don't think this affects our communities? You used to see old folks sit out on the porch and watch the grandkids play outside. They used to watch the neighborhood, the up and down. You don't see that no more because everybody afraid to go outside. Why? Because we being oppressed by each other. Afraid you got to sit on the floor because it's going to be a shooting. You got little kids that's hardened to hear gunshots to be like, oh, yeah, I'm not afraid. I just know what to do because it's so common amongst us to do these things. We can't even look each other eye to eye because it's going to be an issue. I seen another video about this kid. He was beating up on his grandma, and the parents was condoning it. Another one just recently, a mother gave her 10-year-old daughter a gun to shoot another woman that she had a fight with. And when I read the report, it was saying that's the second person that she didn't kill. She stabbed her cousin. Read verse 5 again.
The book of Isaiah chapter 3 and verse 5. And the people shall be oppressed, every one by another, and every one by his neighbor. The child shall behave himself proudly against the ancient.
You can't tell these kids anything anymore. Even if you tell them things that they don't even know, they think they got it figured out to where they don't listen to understanding. You explain to them like they haven't heard the slave trade. So you break it down to them on where their lineages come through, and they just looking at you with a dead face like, because one, they don't be caring. Two, it's just pointless information that's not going to make them a better American. It's not going to give them that dream that they've been sold in this nation. You give them aspirations about black is beautiful. This is how the greatest man and our God looks just like you. Read.
The child shall behave himself proudly against the ancient, and the base against the honorable. Verse 6. When a man shall take hold of his brother of the house of his father, saying, thou hast clothing, be thou our ruler.
That was it on that. Go to Matthew chapter 24. Matthew chapter 24 and verse 12 and 13.
The book of Matthew chapter 24 and verse 12. And because iniquity shall abound, the love of many shall wax cold.
That's where we're at. A lot of us, we are in a very piss poor state mentally. And we have no love whatsoever for one another because either we're afraid that we're going to stab each other in the back, or we physically do kill and shoot each other. We're going to rob each other. We won't become friends with each other. Especially here in Oklahoma, I've noticed that black people are afraid to deal with black people. We're kind of standoffish towards each other. Like getting people to come to the come here. What are you talking? I'm not gonna. We actually gotta say we ain't gonna bite. We ain't gonna yell at you. Come and talk to us. Deal with us. We gonna talk like black people are supposed to talk. But when white folks is around, they're warm and nice. They let them give you a hug and these things. They're very comfortable around white people. Why aren't we like that towards one another? Why are we so bitter and battered towards one another? Y'all don't. And we don't see this thing. Read it again.
The book of Matthew chapter 24 and verse 12. And because iniquity shall abound, the love of many shall wax cold.
Yeah, y'all leave faith alone. She ain't got it. She can go back and see the variations of the scriptures that we use to prove that this is only for Israel. And if she want to be an American, so it be. Whether they will hear it or forbear it, that's just what it is. Read it again.
Verse 12. And because iniquity shall abound, the love of many shall wax cold.
So the love of many shall wax cold. And that's just what it is. The laws don't abound in some of our people, and it doesn't want to. And then some of them will say that there's too many laws. Well, don't you follow all the laws to operate a car? You put your seatbelt on. You don't go above the speed limit. You switch lanes with your signal. I mean, these are just a few laws that apply. You got your license, your insurance. You make sure that you have that on you so when you get pulled over, there's no issues. And even laws that don't even apply, but it's going to keep you from getting shot, you do those too. Like keeping in a visible place so they can see where your hands is at all times. You apply those laws. But these laws, these simple laws of keeping the commandments, give me words that were 22 and 36.
Matthew 22, 36?
Yeah. So where it's talking about the greatest two.
Okay.
22 and 36.
Right. The book of Matthew, chapter 22 and verse 36. Master, which is the great commandment in the law?
And just to say this, even if you didn't believe in the existence of Israelites, just to play that game with people, just to play into the semantics, even if you didn't believe that the Israelites exist and that it applies to everybody. If you have a personal relationship with God, just the basic commandments would be easy for you. You would have no problem like, yeah, I do that, I keep that. But you don't. And it shows that you have a level of hatred towards your own heritage and God. Read.
Verse 36, Master, which is the great commandment in the law? Jesus said unto him, Thou shalt love the Lord thy God with all thy heart, and with all thy soul, and with all thy mind.
So with all your mind, you got to love God. How do you do that? Because we can say the same thing when it applies to being a student, to mastering something, that you're going to apply your mind to that, meaning that you're going to learn all that there is to learn about this subject matter so you can be great at it. Why not with the Bible? Even if you didn't even believe that you was an Israelite. Let's say Christians, for example. Y'all believe that y'all love God. Why don't y'all know anything about him except for what you've been told? Like, come as you are. Everybody is accepted into the kingdom. Everybody is God's people. Why don't you know that there's a storyline and a seed that it follows? Why don't you even know that Christ and the angels are black? If you know everything about the Bible, you read it through and through, but you still don't know. You still can't grasp it because your mind ain't been unlocked to understand it. Read that again.
The book of Matthew, chapter 22, verse 36. Master, which is the great commandment in the law? Jesus said unto him, Thou shalt love the Lord thy God with all thy heart, and with all thy soul, and with all thy mind.
There's things that you got to do to apply what's in your mind. There's actions that have to be done to apply what's in your mind. And it ain't dismissing your own people when they're giving you the truth, the actual facts of where your mind has been placed in America. Read.
Verse 38, This is the first and great commandment, and the second is like unto it. Thou shalt love thy neighbor as thyself.
This is a simple commandment. Love your neighbor as I love yourself. Because you do that, you show that you love God. Because the same thing that you wouldn't do to yourself, you wouldn't do it to your own people. This is the love of God. So if I don't want my wife to deal with another man, I don't want you to deal with my wife. I don't want her to be doing things against that to hurt me. You don't want your kids to do that to destroy your life. How is this so hard? Read that again.
Verse 39. And the second is like unto it. Thou shalt love thy neighbor as thyself. On these two commandments hang all the law and the prophets.
So hang all the laws and the prophets. So there's other laws like keeping a beard. Well, I got to teach my son that he got to grow his beard. He can't mar into it. That's love. He's going to show his son. And when his friends ain't doing that, he's going to correct them. So every time you see a black person without a beard, you're going to be like, oh, listen, you don't have the love of God on you. You don't love your brother. You making this look like it's fashion. And that's what the world has done to our minds, to where it makes us seem corrupt to do the right thing because everybody else is doing it. Get 1 John 3 and verse 15. And what did I have? I had you at, you read all of Matthew 24, 12 and 13? Mm-hmm. Okay. Yeah, I'm going to have you go back to Matthew.
1 John 3.
Get 1 John chapter 3 and verse 15. Matter of fact, start at verse 13. And then I'm going to have you skip.
The book of 1 John chapter 3 and verse 13, right?
Uh-huh.
Marvel not, my brethren, if the world hates you.
Because the world is going to hate you because you do what's right according to the Most High. You're not perpetrating the same curses. You're showing them how to fight against the curses that's put on us. And it gives you that protection of God. Jump down to 15.
Verse 15. Whosoever hateth his brother is a murderer.
Uh-huh.
And ye know that no murderer hath eternal life abiding in him.
So from there, jump to chapter 4 and verse 18.
The book of 1 John chapter 4 and verse 18. There is no fear in love, but perfect love casteth out fear.
Uh-huh.
Because fear hath torment. He that feareth is not made perfect in love.
Read.
We love him because he first loved us.
So we love God because he first loved us. And that love is from the covenant that he gave us, the government that he set up for us to follow, to guide us and to protect us. Read.
Verse 20. If a man say, I love God and hateth his brother, he is a liar.
That goes back to the, now you're breaking two commandments. You're a murderer and you're a liar because you say you love God, but you hate your own people. And you've never seen God. You've never had a face-to-face conversation with the Most High. But here it is. You can't see Christ in your own brother. Read.
For he that loveth not his brother whom he hath seen, how can he love God whom he hath not seen?
And that goes back to the greatest commandments. Love God and love your people. Now go back to Matthew 24, 12 and 13.
The book of Matthew chapter 24 and verse 12. And because iniquity shall abound, the love of many shall wax cold.
Because we love sin and we've been conditioned to sin, that's where we're at. That's why we hate each other. That's why we're in the conditions that we're in. And the curses continue to pour down on us like heavy rain. Read.
Verse 13.
Uh-huh.
But he that shall endure unto the end, the same shall be saved.
But if you can endure the oppression that the nations is giving us, you're going to get this kingdom. You're going to prevail against all the evil that's to come. From there, Romans chapter 12, verse 1. Messianic Jews are Jewish people who believe in Christ, that believe in Christ, the Messiah. Jewish people don't believe, well, Messianics do, but they don't keep the laws. They still worship on Sunday. Read what you got.
The book of Romans chapter 12 and verse 1. I beseech you therefore, brethren, by the mercies of God, that you present your bodies a living sacrifice.
So you're the living sacrifice now. We're no longer putting animals to death. It's you. You're the living sacrifice. Read.
I beseech you, therefore, brethren, by the mercies of God, that you present your bodies a living sacrifice.
And Paul is saying, I'm begging you. I'm trying to persuade you not to do these things, to keep God's commandments, to know who you are, so we can overturn this curse. Read.
Holy, acceptable unto God.
So we got to do a deep search of what's holy and acceptable to God. Read.
Which is your reasonable service.
So when you go back there, Ashar, give me that next image of the man cutting the chain. Because this is what the Bible is going to do for us. Start at the beginning of verse 1.
The book of Romans chapter 12 and verse 1. I beseech you, therefore, brethren, by the mercies of God, that you present your bodies a living sacrifice, holy, acceptable unto God.
Holy and acceptable unto God. For those that don't know, what is it, Romans 7?
12 and 7 and
Romans 7 and 12. See what it is to be holy.
The book of Romans chapter 7 and verse 12. Wherefore the law is holy.
So the law is what makes us holy, read.
And the commandment holy.
And the commandment is also holy, read.
And just and good.
Go back to chapter 12. Verse 1.
The book of Romans chapter 12 and verse 1. I beseech you, therefore, brethren.
So this is what he's saying. We got to come out of the mental state that we're in. We have to break the chains from our minds to get out of these curses, read.
By the mercies of God.
And so we can also see that we are under the curses, that we are the chosen people, that these calamities are poured out on us, and stop being so happy-go-lucky about the American lifestyle, read.
That ye present your bodies a living sacrifice, holy, acceptable unto God.
And that's applying your mind, read.
Which is your reasonable service.
Because it's our reasonable service to do these things, read.
And be not conformed to this world.
Change how your mind is, because the world has us so corrupt to think that BET is our culture. Hip-hop, R&B, sports, all these things, being a great athlete, a comedian, an actor, the next, what do you call the social media stars?
Influencer.
Yeah, influencer, the next influencer. We think that these things are what's going to make us great, and it's not. It has conformed us to still be in the same conditions, even worse now because of some of the things that we invest our time in. Because some people, they just do it for the laughs and to get the views so they can get a check. But then you got the other people on the receiving end that thinks like, oh, I can do that. Right. I'm going to be like that. That's going to be my new lifestyle. And they're not going to do it just to be an influencer. They're going to do it to actually be that. That's hatred towards one another. Read.
Verse 2. And be not conformed to this world, but be ye transformed by the renewing of your mind.
So with this image, this is what, they can see it publicly? So with this image, this is this man's mind breaking those chains off of his arms. That's what this Bible is going to do for us. It's going to change how we think altogether and how we think about ourselves. Go back to the one with Frederick Douglass. Scroll back to the one with Frederick Douglass, because this is what's going to happen. When you break when you break that chain, when you start to think of yourself as a higher being than what the world has told you, when you've fully conformed your mind, this knowledge is going to make you unfit to be a slave. You're going to be unhappy with the conditions. Give me, while I said that, give me that Ecclesiastes. Because this is how you're going to think about yourself. You're going to be mad at everything that's around you. Like, I'm better than this. Why am I in this state? Read.
The book of Ecclesiastes, chapter 7 and verse 7. Surely oppression maketh a wise man mad.
You're going to start to see that I am being oppressed. I'm living a good life as far as being a citizen here in this place, but look how they treat us. Look at the things that I can't do. Look at the places that I can't go. Look how they do us online about our freedom of speech that they gave us. You can say this, but you can't say that. You can be whatever type of crazy Negro in this world, but you can't be a sane, spiritual, commandment-keeping Israelite. That's where your freedom of speech stops. When you start exploiting our wrongs and how we're oppressing your people and start waking them up, that's when it becomes a problem. That's what Frederick Douglass is saying. You're going to be unfit to be a slave. Like, I'm not going to do this anymore. You're not going to keep treating me this way. And the way that we get our revenge back is by understanding that this is our book. This is our history. This is our God, and his services and the kingdom that he's prepared is for us and only us. That's FUBU. Did I have you read all of Romans? Psalms 19 and 7. Give me Psalms chapter 19 and verse 7.
The book of Psalms chapter 19 and verse 7. The law of the Lord is perfect, converting the soul. The testimony of the Lord is sure, making wise the simple.
Read it again. I was reading her comment. So she was asking, Faith was asking, how do you learn unless you ask questions? Those who want to learn ask and don't sit in silence. History shows those who sit in silence are easy to be deceived. Good point. Read.
The book of Psalms chapter 19 and verse 7. The law of the Lord is perfect, converting the soul.
So the laws of God is perfect. That's what's going to make you perfect. And it's going to change your mind. You just got to be able to accept and see the things that are going on. There's one in Matthew that I want to get. Read that again till I find the one in Matthew.
The book of Psalms chapter 19 and verse 7. The law of the Lord is perfect, converting the soul. The testimony of the Lord is sure, making wise the simple.
So it's going to make wise the simple. We ain't going to be, we are not going to be deceived anymore. We're going to be able to see that these are my people in this condition. The city that I'm living in, surrounded by, these are my people that they're oppressing. The laws that they're making, they're doing it to come to further their agenda against us. Read it again.
Psalms chapter 19 and verse 7. The law of the Lord is perfect, converting the soul.
So it's going to change your mind. Read.
The testimony of the Lord is sure, making wise the simple.
It's going to make, because we all were simple. We didn't believe. We was just running around life trying to be the next thing that we seen in front of us, whether we was following our cousins, our uncles, our aunties, uncles and fathers, mothers. We was out here looking for some type of father figure to guide us to what we wanted to be in life. And we became simple doing it. Or as the curses say, we groped at noonday, looking for all these different things to become men and women, when really all we've become is aged adults. None of us knew how to be real men. None of us knew how to be real women, brothers and sisters. We just learned as we went and went along with it like that's what it's supposed to be. But now you have the commandments to stop that thought process. Bible says I shouldn't do that. I can't be that. I like to be, but I can't. I got to use more wisdom than this. Matthew 13 and 16. No, I want to start higher. Let me see. Therefore, start at 14. 13 and 14.
The book of Matthew chapter 13 and verse 14. And in them is fulfilled the prophecy of Isaiah, which saith, by hearing ye shall hear, and shall not understand.
And that's what happened to our people. How long we been sitting in church? How long have we been sitting, listening to pastors' motivational speeches to be good citizens, and you still get shot in the street? You still get beat in the beauty store. You still getting spit on, punched in the face, choked out. You're getting no peace and no justice. Read.
And in them is fulfilled the prophecy of Isaiah, which saith, by hearing ye shall hear, and shall not understand, and seeing ye shall see, and shall not perceive. For this people's heart is waxed gross, and their ears are dull of hearing, and their eyes they have closed.
And you know what made us tired of hearing? Is because every time a leader stepped up, he got shot down, put in jail. He was scattered. They ruined his reputation. They push him out of the country. They sully his name. So it's like, who want to step up and be that? I don't want to be a leader so they can crucify me like they crucified Christ. I'm not going to stand up and be a leader. I'm not going to follow another movement because we're still in the same boat. And that's where some of our people is. What y'all do is good. Y'all helping the community, but Man, I'm old now, man. I ain't doing that no more, man. I'd have been in the marches. A guy told me that I couldn't teach him because he was in the Black Panthers, and he's already been through this before. So there's nothing new that he can say about any movement or anything. So I'm like, all right, if that's how you feel, you think that you can teach, like, and it was the new Black Panther Party at that. So I'm like, you didn't really go through what they went through back then. But this new one, you talking about you trying to educate. And I'm like, I gave him his props because, okay, you are doing something. You're teaching the next generation economic skills. That's what he said he was doing. But you've seen it fail. We've tried every single thing but keep God's commandments. And I'm not seeing this thing fail. My pops used to always tell me, like, listen, you're going to find some history out about your people, and it's going to make you stop following. Well, the worst history is that we were willfully choosing idolatry. We'll go get a statue or something, a shrine or something, and we'll bow down to it, knowing that we're the Israelites. What worse history is that? They weren't deceived into doing it. They willfully did it. But here we are in America, we're deceived into thinking that the Messiah is a white man. We're deceived into all these other things that we've tried to put ourselves in and be great, like sports. And we still haven't benefited from it. Read on to verse 16.
Verse 15. For this people's heart is waxed gross, and their ears are dull of hearing.
We tired of hearing it.
And their eyes they have closed.
We're comfortable and relaxed here. Read.
Lest at any time they should see with their eyes.
Because now you're going to be held accountable for what you don't do. The sins that you commit, you can't just run around and be a fornicator and adulterer. There's consequences to it now. Read. And our people know it in their spirit.
Lest at any time they should see with their eyes and hear with their ears, and should understand with their heart, and should be converted, and I should heal them.
And because that's the mission. Christ is trying to break these chains, and it's with these words that he's breaking the mental chain, the chains that's on our minds, on our spirit. Read.
Verse 16. But blessed are your eyes, for they see, and your ears, for they hear.
And just a simple fact, if you're not a teacher, you're not that person that can go out to camp, you don't think that the office that you hold is that frontline office, you more of that support type of Israelite, you're still blessed because your eyes and ears can hear what's being said. It is an absolute blessing to be able to hear that the curses fit us. That's a blessing because I thought we were just doomed. Here I am trying to just get a job, and you can see the look on their face like, yeah, you black. You young black, you look like one of those hooligans. We'll give you a call. We'll call you, don't call us type of thing. When you see that, like, dang, this white boy just pulled off in here like he just got through surfing in some thong flip-flops and some shorts, and he's here for the interview. I done came in my Sunday best. And you're like, we still looking at other applicants. We'll give you a call. But you looking at him like he's very confident, like, listen, if I get the job, oh well. If I don't, he don't even care. But here it is, you sitting here like, dang, man, I hope I say the right things, man. Lord, please let me get this job. You know I need it. You done went through all the basics. But here it is. He just show up like, whatever, dude. You going to hire me or not? I'm not that good of a worker. But, you know, I'll be here every day. That was his interview, and y'all hired this guy? He don't even care. He has no worries whatsoever. Read 16 again.
Verse 16. Blessed are your eyes, for they see, and your ears, for they hear.
For those of us that heard that you have to keep God's commandments to get the kingdom of heaven, and you're going to get the kingdom of heaven because of your works and your actions, that's a blessing that you heard it and understood it. That after you tried to debate, like, no, it's everybody. You heard the scriptures, like, wow, I've never heard that. You can humble down and be like, oh, wow, this Bible isn't talking about everybody. Everybody don't have the same conditions as me. That's what's going to break that chain. That's what's going to get us from being cursed in a city. People was like, dang, that fits me. No one else can hold to this history. Wow. God did that to us because of what I was doing yesterday, last week, and our people are not. You're blessed because of that thing. Did you finish Psalms 19?
Yes, sir.
2 Timothy 2. 2 Timothy chapter 2 and start at verse 1.
Verse 1?
Yeah.
The book of 2 Timothy chapter 2 and verse 1. Thou therefore, my son, be strong in the grace that is in Christ Jesus.
Grace is a time period. It's supposed to be teaching us how to keep God's commandment. It's giving us that allotted time to get right, to change our mind, to get off all the filth that we've learned and educated ourselves in this world. Read.
Thou therefore, my son, be strong in the grace that is in Christ Jesus. And the things that thou hast heard of me among many witnesses. The same commit thou to faithful men, who shall be able to teach others also. Thou therefore endure hardness as a good soldier of Jesus Christ.
So Timothy is telling us, like what Paul is telling us in this, that we gonna have to endure these curses, the oppression that comes, whether it's from our own people or from the other nations. We're gonna have to endure this hardness to make it. Read.
Thou therefore endure hardness as a good soldier of Jesus Christ.
Because we are soldiers in Christ. Read.
No man that warreth entangleth himself with the affairs of this life.
We're going to have to get our minds off of what the world has conditioned us to be. We're greater than that. And now we got to break that mental chain to be greater than that. No more are you going to subscribe to the same old slave mentality to where, oh, change is going to come. Wade in the water. And here it is. We done got old saying these same old chants, kumbaya, in this land of captivity. When are you actually going to change your mental and do what God asked us to do? Read.
No man that warreth entangleth himself with the affairs of this life.
Because the same things that was happening back in the 1800s is happening right now in the 2000s. It's been no difference. It just, I don't even know how to say it, because
subtle, covert.
It ain't even subtle, because seeing Rodney King get beat on live television, that was like a spectacle. Like, wow, they really doing it, and they're getting off with it. But now it's like, oh, dang. That's news. That's in the news again and again and again. Dang, that's bad. I feel bad for the family. And then we move on, go on with our normal daily process. It don't hit like it used to then because now we numb to it. Like, that's just life. But why is it life for us? It'll be an astonishment if you've seen a white person. What actually was an astonishment to me was the Edomite that shot up the grocery store. And then he saw the other white dude. He was begging for us, like, no, don't do it. He said, oh, my bad. I'm sorry.
Sorry, dude.
Wrong guy. Nice and casualty. Right. It's like he was playing a video game. Right. Like he playing Call of Duty, and he accidentally did friendly fire. Right. Like, oh, my bad. I didn't mean to. Point my gun at you. Look at me. Where's my manners at? I shouldn't be pointing this thing at you. And then proceeds on, la-di-da, bang, bang. Got you. Crazy. Read that again.
Verse 4, no man that warreth entangleth himself with the affairs of this life, that he may please him who hath chosen him to be a soldier.
From there, Deuteronomy chapter 28 and verse 1. Because this is what we're trying to get to. No longer are we going to be cursed in the city if we do these things. 28 and verse 1.
The book of Deuteronomy chapter 28 and verse 1. And it shall come to pass, if thou shalt hearken diligently unto the voice of the Lord thy God.
So if we start to open up our ears and our minds, we're going to be blessed. Read.
To observe and to do all his commandments, which I command thee this day, that the Lord thy God will set thee on high above all nations of the earth.
So give me that image again, that first image. Give me that first image with the brain. Read.
That the Lord thy God will set thee on high above all nations of the earth. And all these blessings shall come on thee and overtake thee, if thou shalt hearken unto the voice of the Lord thy God. Blessed shalt thou be in the city, and blessed shalt thou be in the field.
So now you're going to be blessed in the city if you change your mind, how you're doing things, how you think upon your own people and God's laws. Says you are a prisoner of your own mind. At this state, that's what Christianity has done to us. That's what having a good job or the idea of being independent, because no one is independent. You're not self-made. You depend on another nation to get you wherever you're at. So you're still dependent on something, whether it's welfare or you actually punch in the hours and you do things correctly to meet your goals. You're still not independent because you still depend on this nation who hates you to do what you're doing. You can take the image down. Read 2 and 3 together again. 28, 2 and 3.
The book of Deuteronomy chapter 28 and verse 2. And all these blessings shall come on thee and overtake thee, if thou shalt hearken unto the voice of the Lord thy God. Blessed shalt thou be in the city, and blessed shalt thou be in the field.
So now we're going to be blessed in our city, state, and in our kingdom if we start to do these things, because the Most High, he's going to come back. He's going to send Christ back, and he's going to fight for us. And we're no longer going to have those oppressions. But you got to endure like a soldier in Christ. That goes for you sisters too. Y'all got to fight, because we're not in this alone. We came here on slave ships together. We're going to leave on those spaceships. So with that ends the Wednesday class. One more scripture I wanted to get. Psalms, I think 119. Just to briefly answer that question. She said, no Israelite. What is it, 119, 147? No. He only gave the loss to us. 147. Yeah, 147:19. This is how we know that the Bible isn't for everyone, just to answer Faith's question.
The book of Psalms, chapter 147 and verse 19. He showeth his word unto Jacob.
So he gave the Bible to the Israelites. Our forefather is Jacob. If you read it in Genesis, you'll see how Jacob had 12 sons. Read.
He showeth his word unto Jacob, his statutes and his judgments unto Israel. He hath not dealt so with any nation.
He didn't give this covenant to any other nation outside of Israel. It's only for us. Amos 3. Go ahead.
And as for his judgments, they have not known them. Praise ye the Lord.
Now Amos 3 and 2. Go ahead. That's just evidence that he only dealt with us. He said he ain't dealt with no one else.
The book of Amos, chapter 3 and verse 1. Hear this word that the Lord has spoken against you, O children of Israel, against the whole family which I brought up from the land of Egypt, saying, you only have I known of all the families of the earth.
So God said he only known the Israelites out of the family of the earth, and he's only punishing the Israelites due to the curses in Deuteronomy 28. Only us. Was that it? Yeah. So with that, say shalom. I'm Officer Noah. Lord's will that y'all got something out of this class. Most High in Christ bless you all.